Good afternoon, folks. Chief Meteorologist Nick Lilly here with your tropical update here on June 14th of 2019. This tropical update, as always, brought to you by the good folks at Pine Belt Gutters. Big thanks to them for helping us out with these so that we can let you guys know what's happening out in the tropics. Now, generally, this time of the year, this is where we're looking kind of the bullseye just in the elbow of Florida. But outside of that, it's anywhere really into the Gulf of Mexico, down into the Caribbean, and just off of the east coast of the United States. Of course, as we head forward in time into July, we tend to look a little further out and into the Caribbean. We start to look a little closer to the Bahamas and maybe out into the open Atlantic. It really isn't until later in the year in August and September that we really start to look further out into the Atlantic. For now, we're looking close to home. Now, yesterday we were talking about that little cluster of storms. I said, well, it's not really going to bother anybody but the peninsula of Florida. And yeah, there it went, right over the top of the peninsula. The backside of the front here is still lingering around into the Gulf of Mexico, but all the convection, all the thunderstorms that you see with this are along the front and aren't going to break off of the front and start spinning around in the Gulf of Mexico. At least that's what the latest model guidance suggests. When we zoom out a little further and into the open Atlantic, again, it's a little too early to look out here, but we'll do it anyway. We've got a little bit of shear out here and some thunderstorm activity off the coast of Africa. I mean, like, look at some of these thunderstorms that are just blossoming over Africa. Now, I will say this, once they get out over the open Atlantic, because the water temperatures are still just a little too cool, they change from all the reds and whites and the super high cloud tops and all the thunderstorms to not really much. Is anything coming this direction? Well, let's look at the modeling. 700 millibar moisture, 850 vorticity map is my favorite map in the whole world. The grayed out areas, don't got to worry about anywhere, or anything I should say, underneath those areas. Anywhere you see the blues and the yellows and the reds, that's low-level vorticity. Vorticity, it's a fancy word for spin in the atmosphere. Anytime we've got that, you've probably got some showers and thunderstorms associated with that. And anytime you've got that in an area that's not underneath the grayed out area, you probably have a chance for some semblance of tropical development there. Okay, cool. All right, sweet. Well, we've got just off the coast of Florida here floating around, but notice it kind of goes back, it kind of waffles back and forth between dead and alive, so we're not too terribly concerned about that. Other than that, I mean, we're grayed out all the way into the open Atlantic, north and out just off the coast of the East Coast and back toward Texas. But watch this, the Gulf of Mexico is about to get just pile-driven with a whole bunch of dry air. We got one little piece that broke off and over the Bay of Campeche. Now, here's that little area that was off of the coast of Florida. That continues to move out to sea. But here comes some more dry air, pushes across the Caribbean and into the Gulf of Mexico as we head through the 22nd, 23rd, 24th, and toward the 25th, which should keep the Gulf of Mexico reasonably quiet as we head through the next about week and a half to maybe even up to 2 weeks. So there's a look at your tropical update, dead quiet, and that's the way we like to keep it for June 14th. And as we look toward the future, brought to you by the good folks at Pine Belt Gutters.